North Carolina and Duke are going to do battle here for a chance to head to the championship. Hard to believe all those years of success here in the tournament. Neither of these teams have ever faced one another in a tournament. Duke 4.5, with that total inched up to about 150, 151. Dave, is the public all over Duke here? Does that create any value, do you think?
No, I think the public is going to be as much against Duke as they're on them. Because, you got Coach K. I don't know. It's tough to gauge. I think it's a 50-50 game as far as the betting's concerned. If you look at the two matchups in the regular season, well, North Carolina was clearly the better team in the home game finale, Coach K. But Duke was, I think Duke just rattled that game. There was a ton of pressure on them, and they just folded up like an accordion in that game. The other game, North Carolina was Duke was the better team. I still think Duke's the better team. And the problem, though, is that North Carolina is on fire. And they've got a guy who's just out of his mind right now in the backcourt. Cool him off? I don't know. I haven't got the slightest idea what to do with this game. I wish I could give you something of even minimal substance, but I don't have anything. I think the line's about right. I make Duke 5, but I would be very uncomfortable laying it. So I'm just going to sit here and be a spectator and listen to what the guys have to say, and maybe I can pick up something off what they have, because I don't have anything myself. I don't want anybody to bet on what I'm giving them in this game, because number one, I haven't had a good NCAA tournament. Number two, I'm pretty much clueless on this game.
Dave's got a point there, Drew. Caleb Love is just guy is in a zone right now. What both teams they've got sharpshooters all over the place. If are you looking at the total? Maybe that's the way to go here. These two have played and been profitable to the over this year. So how do you approach this game here?
Actually, Joe, totals wise, I think it's interesting. The push up here. I would actually, if you made me kind of bet the total, I would probably wait till tip off. Thinking that the public money, the people like to watch overs more than unders, and then actually bet the under. Where you got to remember, guys, this is in the Caesars Superdome, where the New Orleans Saints play their home games. It's a football stadium, so the depth perception behind the basket is going to be different. It makes me kind of look towards unders. That's why I like the under in the Villanova-Kansas game. Also lean towards the under here, UNC and Duke as well. Now, granted, Duke's offense, the number one efficient offense in the country, so watch out here. This could be a total, maybe put one unit on it, you might get your face ripped off because it might be, 94-81 like last time these two played. But as long as you're okay with that, I do think that there's a little value on the under. And actually, towards Dave's point, I think he was on to something. Dave, I think you need to roll the dice a little bit. UNC, they are hot. 8 of the last 9, both straight up and against the spread. UNC, the Tar Heels, have been cashing. So I would ride the trend here. The trend is our friend in sports betting and in stock investing. I'm using that here. I think UNC's the side, Joe. Plus the fact the defense, a lot of talk about public bettors here in the Final Four concentrating on offense. And yes, Duke's offense is good, but actually UNC's defense has really improved here. Only an average of 58 points against in their last 5 non-overtime games. The game that did go to overtime, they held Baylor far below their season average shooting percentage. So I think this defense is kind of riding under the radar here. I did a piece on it on the show, college basketball show, under the radar on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Guys, check it out. But I think this defense riding under the radar, Joe, it's something to ride here. I took UNC +4. Also sprinkled a little bit on the money line. I think UNC's got a shot to go to the national championship.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 16 out of 19. That's what North Carolina is here, man. They've been getting it done down the stretch. What do you think, Merril? Are you leaning one way or the other?
Well, one thing that's tricky about college basketball, more so than ever in recent decades, is that these guys are so young. So teams definitely. A team now is a second-year team compared to November or December. In Carolina, their top 6 guys or their top 6 players, are sophomores or younger, right? So this is definitely a better team probably than November and December. So I do think they're improved. They're better than the overall 8 seed that they got for their overall seasonal work. with that said, though, we do have to look at who they played here in the tournament. Now, obviously, a huge fortunate matchup against St. Peter's. I had a strong best bet on North Carolina for my client Sunday. They got to play a 15 seed in the Elite Eight for the first time in history. So that was a cakewalk. Marquette, I thought, an overrated team in the first round. Now, we'll give them credit for beating Baylor. Having a 25-point lead on Baylor is pretty damn impressive. And that UCLA game still has me befuddled. I like the Bruins, as my clients know. I like the Bruins in that game last week. You look at how it played out. UCLA was plus 12 from 2-point range. The difference was 3-point shooting, as it often is. UNC took 17 more threes, and they were plus 15 points from 3-point range. But as Drew said, this game being played in the Superdome, it's the first game. The finals maybe Monday, they're more used to it. But the first game on Saturday, the sightlines could be an issue. And Caleb Love has been fantastic for this team. But he's been living and dying by the three. In fact, he was 6 for 13 against UCLA. He was 6 for 13 against Marquette. That's 26 3-point shots in those 2 wins attempts. And Duke does not give up a lot of points from 2-point range. In fact, the way you beat Duke is from 3-point range. The way you beat Duke is from 2-point range. In fact, out of 358 teams, Duke gives up the 10th highest percentage of opponents' points from 2-point range, only 228th from 3-point range. So I think you make a case it's a decent matchup here. What's interesting is, we're talking about which side's the public on, Joe. As you know, I do my Fade the Public NFL video. I track this stuff very closely. I will tell you right now, UNC is a public underdog in this game by all the metrics I'm looking at. Kansas-Villanova is a little more split, but UNC is going to be a public dog when this game tips off. And it's ironic to me because everyone was on Duke the last month or so that they couldn't possibly lose final regular season game against UNC. They do. They couldn't possibly lose Coach K's last ACC tournament. They did. And by the way, I faded them with a strong best bet of Virginia Tech in that game. But now it looks like the public is kind of not playing Duke anymore. And Duke is starting to cover again, back-to-back covers. So we'll see how this plays out. Should be a great game to watch. And as far as the total, I actually think the over is worth a look. Opened 149.5, as you mentioned, up to 151. 154 and then the 170 range for those 2 regular season meetings. And if you look at the metrics, the percentages, everything was pretty much in line with the normal game. There was no extreme shooting one way or the other. UNC likes to play fast, and I think Duke, when given the opportunity, likes to play fast as well. And as Drew said, the best offense in the country. So I'd look at over 151 if you're looking at the total.
A lot of weapons on the court at one time there for both these teams. It should be a great one, guys.